Hello, this is Mike Cook, and welcome to episode 22.9 of Anti-Doping Updates. We've got two great stories to talk to you about, both of which ended up with 6-month sanctions for the athletes, but for very different reasons. All right, let's get started. First story is regarding Erik Kynard Jr. Erik is an American high jumper. He won the gold medal in the high jump at the 2012 London Olympics after the original winner from Russia was disqualified due to an anti-doping rule violation. He also won a bronze medal in the 2014 and 2016 World Indoor Championships. His last major competition was the 2018 World Indoor Championships. And he retired from competition sometime after that. Despite being retired, someone contacted the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, or USADA, with an anonymous tip that Kynard had posted on social media on January 14, 2022, that he had received an intravenous infusion of a saline solution. The USADA investigated the case and found that he did in fact get an intravenous infusion of saline solution. There are no prohibited substances in the infusion, and he did it at a clinic, and he had a volume greater than 100 milliliters in a 12-hour period, and he did not have a therapeutic use exemption. That constitutes a prohibited method according to the World Anti-Doping Code. Intravenous infusions or injections in excess of 100 milliliters within a 12-hour period in any other setting requires an approved therapeutic use exemption. If a prohibited substance is administered intravenously or via injection, a TUE is necessary for this substance regarding the volume. Administration of IV infusions over the WADA volume limit, including dietary supplements and vitamin cocktails provided to athletes for recuperation, recovery, or lifestyle reasons, those are prohibited at all times without a prior TUE. In medical emergency situations, a retroactive TUE application, you can request a retroactive TUE, but that's not the case for Kynard. He didn't have any kind of therapeutic use exemption for the intravenous infusion. So USADA announced on its website that Kynard had accepted a 6-month sanction effective May 2022. USADA did not explain how they arrived at the 6-month sanction, but most likely they found a reduced sanction for showing no significant fault or negligence and for admitting to the charges. Also, because Kynard has retired from competition, his 6-month sanction doesn't even start. He has to unretire and therefore make himself available for unannounced testing before the 6-month sanction can start to roll. Okay, next story is Alicia Guyer. Alicia is a rugby player from Canada who plays on the Wilfrid Laurier University rugby team in Waterloo, Ontario. She's not on the Canadian national team. She is a university-level rugby player. On October 1st of 2021, she was selected for in-competition testing. On November 3rd, 2021, the Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport notified Guyer that her sample tested positive for caffeine. Caffeine is a psychoactive drug in the amphetamine class that acts as a stimulant. It's found naturally in khat, a flowering plant native to Ethiopia. People from various countries, including Ethiopia and other East African countries, chew khat leaves for the mildly stimulating and mildly psychoactive effect. It's prohibited in some countries and not allowed in other countries. But caffeine also acts as a dopamine releasing agent. Under the World Anti-Doping Code, caffeine is a specified substance, meaning it's only prohibited in competition and only prohibited above a certain threshold limit. And Guyer tested positive at an in-competition test and at a level above the threshold limit. So on November 8, 2021, the Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport informed Guyer that she was provisionally suspended, and the same day Guyer provided an explanation for a positive test. She indicated that she had taken Buckley's Complete for cough, cold, and flu in the days prior to the competition and the day of the competition, hoping that she'd be feeling better because she had some kind of cold and wanted to feel better, and I'd used that product in the past and not had any problems with it. The Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport proposed to suspend Guyer for 2 years, and Guyer admitted the anti-doping rule violation for presence of caffeine, but requested a hearing to determine the level of sanction. That hearing was referred to the Sport Dispute Resolution Centre of Canada. At the hearing, Guyer argued that she had no significant fault or negligence, and therefore her sanction should be reduced from 2 years. In assessing the degree of fault, the SDRC looked at both subjective and objective factors. The SDRC noted that Guyer did not do any research into Buckley's Complete to determine if it contained any prohibited substances. The label on Buckley's Complete indicates it contains pseudoephedrine, which is also a specified substance. However, Guyer's test was within the allowable limits for pseudoephedrine. Also, caffeine is a metabolite of pseudoephedrine. And the label does not indicate that it contains caffeine. It indicates it contains pseudoephedrine. On the WADA website, there's guidance for athletes regarding pseudoephedrine, and that says to stop taking pseudoephedrine products 24 hours before competition, but more likely you can still take some of it during competition as long as you stay within the recommended dose limits and you declare it on your anti-doping form. Given these facts, the Sport Dispute Resolution Centre of Canada found that Guyer was at the lower amount of fault and decided to reduce her sanction from 2 years to 6 months, beginning the date of her sample collection. So that's it for anti-doping updates for this episode. I'll be back next time with some more exciting stories.